people's pineal gland, their third eye, being calcified. Like they say, the fluoride in the water, they found fluoride crystals on people's pineal gland, and they think it's through drinking tap water, which has fluoride in it, and that fluoride is blocking that pineal gland. What's up, everybody? Thank you for attending. Today, I'm going to be talking about intuition and how meditation can strengthen our intuition and the importance of having strong intuition throughout our lives, whether that be to protect ourselves from people we don't need to be around or to make the correct decisions for our future. Steve Jobs went to India back in the 70s and learned how to meditate, and he said that the intuition that he gained through meditation was one of the main reasons he was able to grow his businesses the way that he did. So he said that it was more important than intellect, and Albert Einstein actually described intuition as the only real thing. So this is great because our intuition is innate. We have it naturally within us. You'll notice a kid, you can of course you can play a trick on a kid. You're smarter than a child. But if you've got a 4-year-old and you're not, really trying to mess them up with a joke or something, and you play just like a little joke on them, they might like squint their eyes at you and be like, "Are you messing with me?" Like they can pick up on it just ever so slightly. So this intuition is innate within us, and we learn to have it either more or less. Folks that train that intuition and use it and believe in it tend to be more successful. There was 36 CEOs that were interviewed by some researchers, and they found that, they asked them what was their main decision-making point, and 85% of them said intuition or gut feel. So these are leaders through and through. They're CEOs of companies. They are leading people, and they understood that they had to go beyond what their conscious mind was thinking and look for something a little bit deeper in order to make the right decisions. This is because life will put things in front of us that are so large that we have to outsource. It feels like we're outsourcing, but it's actually coming from within. But we have to go to a higher level of thinking in order to make the correct decision with things. You'll see people all the time through Christianity who say, just give it up to God, just offer it up to God, ask God about it. It happens all the time. And way back in Old Testament times, Abraham did this. Actually, his wife and her maid had some beef going on, and Abraham asked God, what should I do about this? And God answered him. So this would be like you asking your intuition, going to that deeper thinking instead of you making the decision from your conscious mind. I always point up here because this is where your prefrontal cortex is. This is the last part of our brain that developed evolutionarily. So it's the most infantile, but it's our executive function. So it's where all of our decision making is done and all of our processing is done right through here. But we want to get back in here and kind of be able to listen to the rest of our brain a little bit more. There's also a Cornell University psychologist named Dr. Daryl Byrne, and he did a 1,000 participant study for an entire decade, and he showed that humans have the ability to sense the future. So not predict it. So you're not going to get every single detail of everything correctly, but you can have an idea of what is to come in the future. So, of course, because this was crazy information, he waited a long time before he released his results. He waited so long that his results got to a 74 billion to 1 statistical consistency. According to a team of University of Iowa researchers, the brain's axis of intuition is the ventromedial prefrontal cortex. So with that, there have been studies that have shown people who have a damaged ventromedial prefrontal cortex tend to have trouble with decision making. So we've all met people like this who they'll be faced with a decision, but they'll tell you what the situation was and what their decision was, what they did in that moment, and you will not be able to make sense of it. And you might talk to other people who are saying the same thing, and they're like, yeah, I just don't get it. I don't know why they did that, why they made that decision. So these are people who have been shown to have damage to that ventromedial prefrontal cortex. Now, they also struggle with being easily deceived. So we also have all met these kinds of folks. You can pull the wool over their eyes. You can crack little jokes and you can play little games with them. I remember when I was a kid, there was always, hey, gullible's written on the ceiling, and whoever looked up was a gullible person. You can do little things like that and kind of pick on them and make fun of them and stuff. And it's that lack of intuition. We can all see that. And these folks get taken advantage of. These are the people that will get, you'll see like old folks supporting their grandchildren or something like that, being completely taken advantage of and just robbed for everything, just taking advantage of them because they know that they can. So to protect ourselves, like I had said before, we need that intuition. And these folks, you'll also see them, they don't learn from their mistakes. So I think we've all kind of been there a little bit, but some are there more than others. You'll see this kind of person, they'll get in a relationship, maybe a friendship or a romantic relationship with someone who from a distance because of that intuition that they are not an ideal person for them to be around, but they choose to be around them anyway. It doesn't work out well, and then they go back to the same kind of person. Now, this is also because they're still putting out the same energy, so they're still attracting that same person, but they're not able to recognize that, hey, I haven't really changed my energy, so I'm attracting the same type of personality to me, and I'm attaching myself to this person, whether it be romantic or just a friendship, and it's going to end up bad again. I went through a point in my life where when I was kind of revamping my entire mind and everything in my life, I didn't get into relationships and I didn't get into new friendships because I knew that I was attracting old people and old habits and things that I had. I knew that I was attracting those kind of people to myself, and I could see it from a distance, and it sucked, but I had to just trust that intuition that I don't need to be bringing people into my life right now because I'm not in the right mental state. I'm not in the right energetic state. And so I'm not attracting the kind of person that I want to be around. Yeah, and then eventually, it comes around and you do get around people that are really great to be around. Now, in 2014, there was a Wake Forest University study. Researchers' name was Ziden et al., and they studied 15 volunteers after only 4 days of mindfulness meditation, which is exactly what I'm preaching here. Mindfulness meditation every day. These people did it for only 4 days, and they showed that they had an increase in activity and interconnectivity in the ventromedial prefrontal cortex. So in only 4 days of mindfulness meditation, they stimulated their intuition. 4 days is all it took. To be honest, if you meditate correctly, it takes 1 day and you'll get into it deeper, but it of course will build on itself. It's a snowball effect. This stuff will stay with you for life because you're changing your brain. Now, your brain is always changing, so you can always revert back to old ways, but once you start meditating, you really can't stop it. Once you've truly gotten into it and you've seen the results and benefits in your own life, it's almost impossible to stop doing it because it benefits everything in your life because your mind is controlling everything in your life. That your thoughts and that energy that you're putting out there and that energy that you're being around is so important for you. And that intuition is how we sense that. So another point with that is, like, ladies have better intuition than men do typically. And why do they have better intuition than men do? Because men are larger and physically stronger, so we can kill them with our bare hands. You can squeeze the life out of them. So because you can kill them with your bare hands, and they cannot defend themselves against you, they have stronger intuition. So they can pick up on your energy when you get around them, so they know, I need to get away from this guy, or I can trust this guy is safe and I'm comfortable. And so that's why a lot of you dudes are freaking weirdos, and you don't even want to be in a physical vicinity of a woman. You won't turn and face a woman, you won't look her in her eyes or nothing, because you know she is going to get away from you. She's going to be afraid. She's like, oh God, I got to get away from this guy. Well, that's because you're a weirdo and you're putting off weird vibes. You need to relax. So ladies have stronger intuition than men do in that way, so they can protect themselves from y'all's weird asses. Can't blame them. There's a ton of incels out there, and you know you're sitting there angry, and they're not going to be around you because you're angry. You hate women secretly. All right, they'll go away from you. You don't get the blessings. You'll see this with ladies who go and get beat up in relationships, and they will date it, and you're almost afraid for this woman because you know that she could die, she could lose her life or end up seriously injured, and you'll see them go back to that same guy again because they're lacking that intuition to know that, like, my life is in danger. Yes, I've attached myself to this guy and I love him, but my life is also in danger. So I need to choose which one is better, my love for him or my life. Which one am I going to pick? Obviously, choose your life, stay away from this guy, go through the heartache, but you won't see that. And these are folks that they're lacking that ventromedial prefrontal cortex. And I guarantee if they started meditating, they've already shown after 4 days, it'll stimulate that area and make it more active. If they started meditating, they would slowly move away from a guy like this. They would slowly come to understand and accept, this person is horrible for me and I need to get away from them. So these are things we can all do to protect ourselves from folks around us, because let's be honest, most people are very nice, but not everyone is great for you. When you go out in public, I'd say probably 90% of people have no ill intentions and they're very kind, nice people. But there's that 10% walking around that don't have good intentions, and you shouldn't be around them. And if you are not able to sense and detect that, either from a distance or when you first meet the person, you're going to end up hurt in some way, shape, or form. Now, they could just mess up your energy by being around you, and every time you leave them, you're just off, you're not feeling right. Or they could directly be attacking you physically, verbally, whatever it is, and they're throwing your day off. We've all been around those kind of people that every time you get around them, there's like some type of argument. And when you look around, you realize they argue with everyone. I remember I was in the military and there was a guy, him and I used to argue all the time. And we were drunk one night arguing, and someone else pointed out that he had argued with every person in the group. There was 4 of us. He had argued with the 3 other people that night, and none of us argued between each other. So it was very obvious it's this guy that's starting the arguments. He's argued with 3 different people that are all his friends tonight, but nobody else has argued with each other. We've all argued with him, though. You have to be able to protect yourself. This was a time in my life where I said, oh, I'm going to stop judging people and I'm going to accept everyone. Ooh. Ended up around someone I didn't need to be around. They were bad for me. So there is some discernment in your judgment. You shouldn't judge people from a negative mind state. This is again why we have to meditate. If you just start walking around judging people today, you're going to make bad judgments and you're going to condemn people that they shouldn't be condemned. But judgment can be a protection for ourselves. When it comes to intuition, your signal of intuition is either weak or it's clouded. That ventromedial prefrontal cortex is always there. It doesn't just get deleted and thrown out of your mind. So how can this happen? Some people don't believe that their intuition is real. So naturally, it's not going to be there. If you stop believing that your legs are real, so you stop walking, you stop using your legs, you're going to actually end up in a wheelchair because your legs will deteriorate muscularly and skeletally as well. So your intuition is real. You should believe that it's real also, and it will strengthen itself. And then it could be clouded. This is that slight damage and stuff. They talk about people's pineal gland, their third eye, being calcified. Like they say the fluoride in the water, they found fluoride crystals on people's pineal gland, and they think it's through drinking tap water, which has fluoride in it, and that fluoride is blocking that pineal gland. So this will go into that cloudiness and that murkiness, and that's a whole nother topic about, they said it was good for your teeth, but it's actually blocking this pineal gland, so you can't really think for yourself. Other people will think for you. They'll give you the information of how to think, what to believe, and how to feel. Again, this is a protection mechanism. We have to be able to protect ourselves, and that's a lot of what meditating can do. And it doesn't mean you see someone and you're lashing out at them like, I've met a person like you before and you're terrible and I don't want to be around you. No, you're just able to, have a short conversation with them and then carry on about your day and not get caught up with them. You don't have to be too nice. You can get yourself put in a bad scenario by being too nice to folks, and meditation can help you ride that line of kindness, but I need to get out of here as well. So if you found value in the video, hit the like button. Comment what you want me to speak about in the future. I will have my email linked in the description below so you can reach out to me to speak more on this topic. Other than that, thank you for being here.